For the new Boston. What we're going to do in this tutorial is finish our update method and actually run our widget for the first time on the emulator. So let's just get into it. We have a random string variable, which is basically a random integer, and what we're first going to do is kind of talk about some of these parameters that are being passed in. We get a context, which is basically we can get the package name, so we can refer to other intents and refer to the layouts and all that good stuff. So we're going to refer to that a little bit. We'll also get an app widget manager, which we're going to refer to actually do the update. And lastly, we have this thing that gets the app widget IDs. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, if there's more than one, we need to kind of reference all of those, and we want to do the same thing for all of the the different IDs the person can have of our widget. So what we need to do is we need to set up an int, which is basically going to get the whole value or how many different app widget IDs that we need to refer to. So we're just going to say final int, because this isn't going to change, because this on update method is going to give us that information. It's not going to change. We're just going to call it n. This is just what kind of one of the examples in the Google developer used format like this. That's why I'm just going to refer to the same thing. And then all we're going to do is we're going to refer to the variable name of our int array that we're getting passed in, and we're just going to copy and paste that. We're just going to get the length to determine how many there are. So now we have this variable n, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a for loop. So we're just going to say for int I, which we're just creating again, is equal to 0 to start out with, and a semicolon, and then we're going to say as long as I is less than n, which is the length of, or how many different things are within our array. And what we're going to do is we're going to, again, semicolon, and we're just going to add 1 to I each time until it hits n. So that way we'll cover all of our different IDs that are getting passed in. And now what we need to do within this for loop is basically refer to our layout, and to do that, our activity isn't open, so we're going to have to get what package this layout comes from and set up the view according to that. And what this is called is a remote views. So we're going to say remote views, and we're just going to call this v for like view, something like that. And we're going to set this equal to new remote view, remote views with an S. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say context, because again we're getting passed into context. We're just going to relate to that, and we're just going to say get the package name. And that's going to give us the package of where this widget's coming from, and the layouts that it has within that package. And all we're going to do is hit a comma and then give it the second parameter, which is the layout we want to mess around with. So we're going to say r.layout.widget, and again that's what we set up within our XML file for our initial layout, was that widget layout. So again, we just want to refer to that same layout, and now we can mess around with the stuff within there. So all we're going to do is, for example, set our text view, our third text view. So we're going to say our view, we're going to refer to that, and we're going to say set text view. As you can see, it takes the ID and also the text that we want to set to that view. So it's a little bit different than before, but it's not that difficult of a concept where you can't understand what's going on. So we're going to say text view, and we're going to say widget update is what we called that text view, our third text view. And what we're going to set this text equal to is, again, this random string up here. So we're just going to say rand, and we've changed our text view to basically the random string. And then all we're going to do is we're going to give that information to our app widget manager. So again, we're going to refer to the app widget manager that's being passed in, which they just called app widget manager, like that. And we're going to use a method called update app widget. And the first thing that we want to update is the specific widget ID that we're on. So what we're going to actually do before we set that up, we're just going to go above our remote view, but still within our for loop, and we're going to set up a new int that is going to be the app widget ID, something like that. And we're going to set this equal to be our app widget IDs, and we're going to set this equal to be I. So that way, you know, every time we cycle through, this I is going to be a different number, and that's what we're going to set the ID to, so we can return it to that same, you know, app widget ID. So now we have that variable. That's what we're going to set our first parameter to, is AWID, app widget ID, and the view. Again, we set up this view, or this remote views, and that's what we're going to refer to for our view. And so it's just going to update our widget according again to which ID was being passed in originally, and which view we want to affect and how we want to affect that view. And since we're setting the context, or the text view, that's what's going to happen. So let's quickly run our application, make sure it works. And the thing to note is that we don't really have anything within our list. It already knows it's a widget because that's how we defined it in the manifest. And then we can just go to our home screen, click and hold, go to widgets, and we're going to scroll down to the New Boston. And it looks like our widget is too large for the screen. So, you know, I don't know if I didn't follow those guidelines properly, but I'm just going to change that real quick within our width, because I think that's what's giving us a problem, like 274 or something like that. And let's test that out again. So I guess I didn't read those guidelines, you know, enough, I should say. So again, you guys might want to check out that website, because obviously I didn't. So let's go back and we're going to add our widget. The New Boston again. As you can see, here's our, I don't know if you guys can see that, but here's a random number that's displayed. Our button doesn't do anything, and this text view isn't set yet. So, you know, that's pretty much it for this tutorial, guys. Just a quick introduction of how to update, and that number will change approximately every half an hour. That number is going to be a new random number, and that's what our update method is actually going to do. But I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial. Have a good one. Peace.